In an African river, there lurks a super predator. A creature with the combined strength, speed, and ferocity of all the river monsters I have ever encountered. Creating the most horrific yet perfect killing machine in all of the world's rivers. Something bit this fish right in half. My name is Jeremy Wade, biologist and extreme fisherman. I'm on the trail of this terrifying monster, and it's going to take all my skills as a fisherman to capture one.
This is a special presentation of Animal Planet's River Monsters.
This is a story from the heart of Africa, of a cursed beast that preys on the unsuspecting. Its powers are legendary, its ferocity the stuff of nightmares. On the banks of an African river, a young girl is playing. She enters the water as she has done hundreds of times before. Around her waist is a belt made from shiny bottle caps. What she doesn't know is that today, in this spot, there lurks a monster. A creature of terrifying appearance, like a relic from prehistoric times. Armed with bone-crunching jaws as powerful as a hyena's, it is as secretive as a crocodile and as deadly as a great white shark. This super predator is only found in the most inaccessible part of the most inaccessible river on Earth. Very few outsiders have ever heard of it, and even many of the locals have never seen it. I'm heading to Central Africa, to the Congo River, to track down and catch one of these elusive killers, to see if this creature really does deserve its reputation as a supreme underwater predator. First thing any fisherman does when he goes to a new place is to go and check out the river. But nowhere else in the world would you expect to be greeted by a sight anything at all like this. This massive river is second only in flow and area to the Amazon, draining a huge swathe of Africa, half the size of the US. That's the Congo River. To reach this point, it has run nearly 3,000 miles, crossed the equator twice, and narrowed from 10 miles at its widest to around a mile here, where it splits the two war-ravaged capital cities of Kinshasa and Brazzaville. From here, it plummets nearly 1,000 feet in a series of rapids to the Atlantic Ocean, almost 300 miles away. And wherever there is a river, there are humans hardwired to seek out its fish. It's hard to believe, but many species of fish can survive fast-flowing rapids like these. Weda is one of only a handful of fishermen who choose to fish these waters. I've been seeing what the local guys use here. I am slightly embarrassed using such, gear, which is sort of very expensive in comparison. But I actually think, this will stand a chance of getting out large fish from here, which the bamboo and lighter line doesn't do, perhaps. The creature I'm pursuing is a voracious predator. Okay. So there's the hook. That not only attacks the small fish these fishermen are after, but will also take a chunk out of a crocodile. It's the Goliath tigerfish, Not just one of the top predators here, but among the most ferocious freshwater predators in all the world's rivers. Goliath tigerfish are said to grow 6 feet long and weigh in excess of 100 pounds. They have jaws packed with razor-sharp interlocking teeth. And with their streamlined body and huge tail, they are capable of incredible bursts of speed when striking prey. Their ferocity when hunting is legendary. The fishermen tell me there's someone I should meet who has a unique way of fishing these waters. This is Philippe Tenta. He fishes these rapids with a net.
That is the scale of a Goliath tigerfish, which he caught the day before yesterday. Combien de kilos?
30 kilos.
30 kilos. Ici. Ooh. 70 pounds here. That's a big old tigerfish. Teeth on it probably like that, you know, so, you know, just the thought of that kind of fish in this kind of water. Don't get much more extreme than that.
He's about to check his nets.
So you've got cable where it's going over the rocks, and here we go, here's the net coming in.
As would be expected, fishing with nets in such turbulent water is not without its problems.
The net's actually, it's stuck.
I have no idea what he plans to do about it. But I wasn't expecting that. Jumping into these waters is nothing short of suicidal. But I realise now that this is something he must do on a daily basis. If people call me an extreme fisherman, what does that make him?
I know he knows what he's doing, but to me it just looks like the most insanely dangerous way to make a living. Swimming in this sort of supersized washing machine type water with a net which is, you know, designed to catch things. All this effort, and there's actually nothing in this net, so we're just going to redeploy a fresh net. And it is just mind-boggling. You know, you just wouldn't get me doing that.
That kind of fishing seems very reckless to me. But this is a country where people are forced to go to extreme lengths simply to survive. Philippe tells me about a man whose father was attacked by a Goliath tigerfish. So I head to a suburb of Brazzaville, the capital of the Republic of Congo, to meet Jean-Pierre Mombele. The attack on his father is the stuff of nightmares.
You're watching a special presentation of Animal Planet's River Monsters.
I'm in Africa, beside the Congo River. I've tracked down Jean-Pierre Mombele, a fisherman with a story to tell. He shows me a macabre souvenir, a scale that he took from the massive Goliath tigerfish that attacked his father.
And it sounds like he was a specialist fisherman for tigerfish. He was fishing on his own. He didn't come back one day, and they are known to jump out of the water. They're very, very fast, and they have just got these wickedly sharp teeth. Sometime later, they found the boat, but with nobody in. But there was a fish in the boat. There was a fish with a hook in its mouth, and then when they looked some distance away, his body was there as well. And the thing that's particularly horrifying is it sounds like
Quái carte.
there were marks on his father's throat. It sounded like he was standing up in the boat, and a freak accident. It sounded like the fish actually jumped out of the water and bit him on the throat.
Mombele's story raises a few questions, but this is the second account of a Goliath tigerfish attacking and killing a person. But to stand any chance of catching a Goliath, I need to head upstream to a less densely populated part of the river. I want to see for myself if this fish really deserves its reputation as an indiscriminate killer. Success in fishing is largely about preparation, and I use the journey north to begin the groundwork.
Catching the fish is very, very much about getting local intelligence, and there's no way you can get that without talking to people. And where I'm going, they're not going to speak English, and actually having left the capital, not very many are even going to speak French. So I'm brushing up on my Lingala, which is the language they speak on the Congo River. It's the trade language that everybody speaks, as well as the other little local languages.
The Goliath tigerfish is the ultimate freshwater predator, combining characteristics from all the other river monsters I have ever battled. It has the bloodthirsty reputation of the piranha, dentition more fearsome than the payara, the cunning of the Wells catfish, and the strength of the piraiba. Add to that the athleticism of the arapaima and a bony head to rival that of the alligator gar. And it's clear I'm going to have to draw on all of my past experiences to catch one.
Basically, I've got some pretty serious treble hooks, and I'll be using this kind of wire. If I was just to use ordinary fishing line down to the hooks, the Goliath tigerfish is just going to chomp straight through it. So I'm using this kind of stuff. It's a breaking strain of 175 pounds.
Just 100 miles upstream from Brazzaville, we arrive in the section of river where the young girl was attacked and killed by a Goliath tigerfish. But that was on the opposite bank, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I don't have papers for the DRC. With the country still experiencing unrest, I can't risk going there. I stop and chat to some fishermen. They show me a tiny Goliath tigerfish that they have just caught. Something which looks like a piranha, but this is just a baby Goliath tigerfish. These things grow to the size of a person. This confirms that it could be a good place to start fishing.
So we got a lump of rock here, cliff, some boulders at the bottom. The current comes down, gets deflected out into the middle, and we got this nice eddy here. So I'm actually fishing off the back of the boat, letting the back current take it. But it's classic ambush predator country. But I've got the bait about 50 yards down from the boat. I'm feeling hopeful, something could take that. Fish on!
And now, Fish Files, brought to you by Geico.
Which is the deepest river in the world? Is it A, the Nile, B, the Mekong, or C, the Congo?
You're watching River Monsters. All new season begins Sunday, April 25th at 10, only on Animal Planet.
I ask, which is the deepest river in the world? The answer is C, the Congo, which is 730 feet at its deepest point. That's 5 times the height of the Statue of Liberty.
Fish on! Fish on! The bait went round the corner. I lost sight of the float. And I was just I just pulled on the line, I was retrieving it, and suddenly there's a wrench on the rod. Ah, look at that. That's tigerfish. There we go, chung, chung, chung. And what's in, it would have had a really good mouthful of that, of the hook as well, but failed to get a good hook up.
A little further upriver is the village of Maipili, where I set up camp. As night draws in, I'm left to ponder my near miss. I had the right spot, but I had underestimated the animal. It just spat out my treble hook with contempt.
I've been talking to some of the people here and they just say, well, just use loads of those, maybe 10 on the line and something's going to hold. But it's not just a case of the more the merrier. I think that might hook something fairly well, possibly, but that amount of metal wear might actually put something off from actually coming along and taking the bait in the first place. And the other thing is, if something actually grabs hold of that, the pressure that I'm exerting is divided over 9 points. On the other hand, something like that, it's a bit of a compromise. I've got a big treble hook on the end, and then I've got a single hook further up. If just that single hook gets a hold, I've got a lot of pressure that can actually work that into the bone of the fish's mouth.
The Goliath's reputation as a fierce predator has immortalized it in local culture. Known by the Congolese as Mbenga, it crops up again and again in tales of mutilation, human death, and sorcery. The next day, I head out with a more substantial rig. I've got some artificial lures with me, but everybody here tells me this predator is most likely to hit a bait that is alive.
2000, okay.
2000, c'est ça.
Goliath tigerfish are active hunters. As well as having good eyesight, they can also detect vibrations in the water, which can lead them to prey. But does the Mbenga intentionally target people? Or is there another reason to explain the attacks that I've heard about?
I've just got this on the clicker, on the ratchet. And if it's actually in the full current, that's just pulling that away. But the fact that that is just holding nicely is good. It's in a little quiet pocket of water, relatively quiet, out in the current, and that's just what I'm looking for. That's just where a predator would wait without expending too much energy, where there's not too much current. It might be off. Damn, it's off. Ah. Oh, no question about me putting pressure on that or not. The float just shot under. That fish was tearing away. Ah. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. That's the kind of thing you'd expect to see if you're shark fishing. This is fresh water. Something down there just bit this fish right in half. One thing I must admit that's going through my mind, I've heard these stories of people getting attacked, and just looking at the state of this fish, it really does make you realise what a mess that would make of a person if it went for your arm or your leg or anywhere else. Like the girl I heard about who had a fish actually grab her torso.
The morning after, I'm called to meet the village elders. They have stories to tell me about attacks by Mbenga on people from the village.
The story that's emerging is that if you live here